I could see if the PS5 version had like certain features removed, like how the Switch version removed SnapMap entirely from 2016, or that the game ran at 30 frames a second. And I'm sorry, I don't give a shit if it's the fucking Switch or whatever. A game like that running at 30 frames per second is fucking disgusting. I don't like to go on about frames about that. I think it's really fucking autistic to get mad at a game for running at 30 or 60 or whatever, when if it dips below 30, then sure, but like, it's still a game that people are conditioned to hate anything that's not 30 frames or whatever. Oh, fuck. Well, you know what I mean. But I guess they're okay with it on the Nintendo Switch because, you know, Doom Eternal is pushing the hardware limits to its absolute unit, but yet it still plays like fucking shit. It's like, I don't know, the whole gaming discourse over frame rate is really fucking retarded. It's like, oh my god, this game doesn't run at 60 frames per second. There are very few instances where I could see that actually being annoying, like with, what was it? I know there was one recently with Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door on Switch. But at least to be fair, the developers did come out on, or one of them mentioned on Twitter, and actually explain why. It is kind of silly that a remaster from the GameCube can't run at 60 frames per second, but at least the developers actually tried to explain it in a reasonable manner. But it's not the first time something like that happened, so a nothing burger. And of course, with everyone's favorite shonen anime, Dragon Ball Xenoverse, there was a pretty big thing I was annoyed at with the game that the PC version lets you run the game at 60 frames per second, and it was also one of those games that was released on Xbox 360 and PS3. I'm like, okay, those games running at 30 frames per second, okay, it's on lower hardware, so whatever. The PS4 and Xbox One version, however, that should be at least somewhat on par with PC, nope. It's like, really? That's pathetic. But other than that, I don't give a shit if a game runs at 30 and 60. Yes, there's a difference between the two, but it's still a game at the end of the day. Like, I could play something like GTA 3 and not give a fuck that the game isn't running at 60 frames a second, because I still fucking love the game. And even people need to understand that some games, if you try to run them at 60 frames a second, kind of breaks the game, and yet people like to use it as a breaking point for some games, like of Mirror's Edge, even though people fucking love that game for being a unique first-person platforming game or whatever. Oh my god, EA killed Mirror's Edge because the game doesn't run 60 frames a second correctly. What? Are you kidding me? They actually made a female protagonist that's actually likable. I mean, she's not the prettiest looking, but, you know, she still is actually a character. It actually has gameplay that was actually innovative at the time, and it actually has pretty decent visuals, even to this day. I know people aren't really fond of Mirror's Edge Catalyst, but I still like the game, but whatever, that's just how I feel. You don't have to agree, but that's just how I feel. And it's like, oh, this game sucks because EA doesn't let you run the game at 60 frames per second. Even though Dark Souls Remastered literally breaks or whatever, not whatever version. Dark Souls, if you run it at higher than 60, the game just kind of fucks up. Even though FromSoft are pretty terrible at their PC ports. But whatever. Like, I just want to enjoy the game. Like, if it runs at below 30, sure, we'll have a problem. But whether it be 30 or 60, I really don't give a shit. Oh yeah, speaking of Tony Hawk, someone actually made a Tony Hawk's Underground 2 mod that has the, what was it, Firelink Shrine. That was actually kind of cool. I believe the person was skating a Solaire and they replaced the text, so whenever you hit out of bounds object, it says you died. Now, I think that's pretty alright. If I could get Fug 2 Pro working, I would probably download it. Oh yeah, that's another thing I actually looked up recently. Actually, Minion can fall off, but for whatever reason, he just respawns and loses a little bit of health. Because apparently one of the few vehicles in the game where if you try to go onto this building, he for some reason never makes it, and apparently there's a cheese strategy, cheese strategy, where you can just have him go through the building. Nice how Outlaw literally fell too. And, it's just fucking falling, like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, for some reason, if Minion does it, he actually just... Oh shit, he actually made it, Jesus Christ. My one strategy failed up. But yeah, for some reason, if Minion actually falls off, he respawns, but only loses a little bit of health. Which is actually one of my biggest criticisms with Twisted Metal Head-On, and even Twisted Metal 2012, where falling off a roof just barely does anything to you. And it's not an option to turn off in Twisted Metal Head-On. There technically is for Twisted Metal 2012, but I think it only works for local multiplayer. The same local multiplayer, where even on the PS3, David Jaffe thought it was a good idea to pretty much neuter the actual levels of a warfare, goddamn. But yeah, that's why they call it Drop Dead. It's just amazing.